Right now, in the room around you, there are faces in the plug socket, the cupboard handles, the pattern on a curtain. You know none of them are real. Your brain does not care. It flagged them as faces before you could think, because missing a real one for 100,000 years could get you killed. Look around, actually look. The front of your kettle, a knot in the wood grain, two shadows under a shelf that make a pair of eyes, and a gap below that looks like a mouth. The more you look, the more they appear. It is not imagination. It is not pareidolia being some quirk you have picked up. It is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. And the strange part is this: your brain is not making a mistake. It is working perfectly. Your brain has a dedicated patch of tissue called the fusiform face area. That is its name. That is its whole job. Find faces, not objects, not animals, not patterns in general. Faces. When you walk into a room full of people, this patch of brain lights up like a search engine. It is scanning for faces before you have consciously decided to look for them. It is faster than thought. It is older than language. It is wired into the bone of what you are. Now here is where it gets startling. Brain imaging from Wardle and colleagues in 2020 shows something that should make you pause. When you look at an illusory face in an object, two screws and a slot, a power outlet, a pattern of wrinkles in a bag, that face area fires to the same degree as it does for a real human face. Your brain is not carefully separating real person from fake. At the level that fires first, it simply registers one thing: face. The plug socket and your friend's face activate the same neural territory at the same intensity in the same moment. But here is the crucial thing. It is a snap decision made in 165 milliseconds. That is not thinking. That is not reasoning. That is pure, fast detection. Brain recordings show that within about 165 milliseconds of seeing a face-like object, your brain represents it almost identically to a real face, long before you have any conscious chance to think about it. You cannot stop it. You cannot talk yourself out of it. It happens to you. This is a broadly tuned detection system that deliberately privileges sensitivity over accuracy. It is built to catch every possible face, and it accepts a flood of false alarms as the price. A vague arrangement, two dots and a line, is enough to set it off. That coffee cup on your desk does not need to look perfectly like a face. It just needs to be close enough. Your brain will do the rest. For an ancestral human, the cost of missing a real face, a rival at the tree line, a predator in the shadows, the intent of someone who might harm you, could be death. The cost of a false alarm, flinching at a shadow that turns out to be nothing, is trivial. When one mistake is fatal and the other is harmless, evolution does not build a careful system. It builds a screaming system. It builds a system that says face at the faintest hint and sorts it out afterward. Better to flinch at 1,000 shadows than to miss the one shadow that is real. And this is not learned. It is not cultural. It is not something you picked up from your parents or your society. Newborn babies, babies who have seen almost nothing, who have been alive for hours, show the very same bias toward face-like patterns. Other primates do too. This is old. This is wired. This is what evolution chose to build into the architecture of seeing. So every time you smile at a friendly-looking house, or feel watched by a coat hanging on a door, or see a personality in the front of a car, you are not malfunctioning. You are not broken. You are watching an ancient life-or-death vigilance system, the one that kept your ancestors alive by never once risking missing a face, running quietly in a world now full of sockets and cars and toast. But here is the honest part, because the newest research adds a twist that most explanations miss. The face area fires for illusory faces at first, but then the brain corrects itself. Wardle's data shows that within about 250 milliseconds, so about 85 milliseconds after that first snap decision, the representation transforms. The illusory face gets recategorized and starts being processed like an ordinary object again, while real faces stay in the face lane. They keep being treated as urgent, so your brain is not permanently fooled. It is not sitting there convinced that your toaster is a person. The first fast pass says face. A slightly slower pass says actually object. Pareidolia is the brief window where you feel that first verdict before the correction lands. That is why you can look at a power outlet and smile at its expression while simultaneously knowing it is a power outlet. Both things are true. They are just happening on different timescales. Two things worth holding honestly. The evolutionary why, that hypersensitivity, that better safe than sorry logic, is the leading and well-supported explanation. But it is an evolutionary inference. We cannot go back and ask your ancestors directly, and individual differences, like reports that women may experience pareidolia slightly more or that anxiety heightens it, are real findings from a still developing literature. They are genuine, but we should hold them lightly. The research is not finished yet. What matters more is what this tells you about the thing inside your skull. You live inside a brain that would rather be wrong 1,000 times than miss a face once. Think about that. Of all the things in the world your visual system could have been built to prioritize, it chose faces above nearly everything else. Not food, not threats in general, faces. Because for your ancestors, other people were the whole game. Friend or enemy, threat or ally, loved or dangerous. The entire drama of human survival was written on faces, and so your brain became an instrument tuned, above all else, to find them, so finely tuned that it finds them where they are not. When you see a face in the clouds, you are feeling the weight of that history. When a house looks startled at you, when a car looks angry, when a knot in the wood stares back, your mind is not seeing things. It is not malfunctioning. It is doing the most human thing imaginable. It is looking, always, for someone else. It is looking because for hundreds of thousands of years, looking for faces was the difference between living and dying. And that impulse does not switch off just because you now live in a world where the faces you find are made of wood and metal and foam. Your brain is ancient, and it is still watching.